Good morning and welcome to BJC Mitzvah Day, number 174, part 3, using the Sefer Hachinuch. Mitzvah Day keeps us on its way. Today's mitzvah again is entitled The Shaving of the Metzora on the Seventh Day, found in the third book, the book of Vayikra, Parshas Metzora. Okay, we're comparing the Metzora to the Nazir. In the 6th chapter of Nazir, the sages said, what is the difference between the purification process of a Nazir and that of Metzora? It is only that for this one, his purification depends only on his counting of 7 days. That is, for the Nazir who was tameh, impure, and performed the 7-day procedure of purification, purification is attained simply at the end of his 7 days, even without shaving. Whereas for a Metzora, his purification depends on his shaving. It is thus clear from the Mishnah that the shaving of the Metzora by itself effects a degree of purification even before his offerings are brought. The Rambam clarifies the level of purification that the Metzora attains with the second shaving. When the Metzora shaves and the second shaving is complete, he is purified from being an avatuma, a source of tumah, literally father of tumah, of impurity, when he was capable of transmitting tumah like a sheretz, one of those creepy crawling creatures, right? As is set out at the end of Tractate Negoim. At this point, after the shaving, he is no longer an avatuma, but he remains a muchsara kapara, one who is lacking atonement, i.e. not completely purified of his tumah, until he brings his offerings. Like the other people who are muchsari kapara, lacking atonement, as set out in the Mishnah there. This, then, is the objective of his shaving, namely, he's being purified from transmitting tumah like a sheretz, again, like an avatuma, whether he brought his offerings or did not bring them. And the objective of bringing his offerings is not to purify him from the severe degree of tumah akin to that of sheretz, but to complete his atonement. Just as that is the purpose of the offerings for other people who are machsuri kapara, namely a zav, the man who has a flow from that body part down below, a zava, and a yoledes. Thus, the objectives of shaving and bringing offerings are different. The former is to remove the status of avatuma, and the latter is to remove the status of machsuri kapara. The Rambam now explains the relationship of the two obligations of the Nazir, his shaving and the requirement to bring his offerings. The Rambam begins by pointing out that the Nazir, even before he brings his offerings, is not a machsuri kapara at all, reflecting the fact that the purpose of his offerings is different from that of the Metzora. All right, let's see a little more. We have already mentioned in Sefer Hachinuch, number 75, the words of the statement of the sages that there are 4 machsuri kapara: the zav, the zava, the yoledes, and the Metzora. And there in the Gemara it is clarified that the Nazir is not considered a machsuri kapara. Rather, the objective of that procedure in its totality, i.e. the shaving and bringing of the Nazir's offerings, is to permit the Nazir to engage in the drinking of wine and other actions that were forbidden during the term of his Naziris. And one of them is insufficient without the other. That is, the shaving is connected to the offering, and the offering is dependent upon the shaving. And only collectively is the objective accomplished at all. That objective being that the Nazir is permitted to engage in that which had been forbidden to him during his days of Naziris, such as drinking wine and becoming impure tummy to a corpse. The shaving and the offerings of the Nazir are thus 2 components of a single process necessary to lift the restrictions of his Naziris. We will continue with this mitzvah, God willing, tomorrow. Maybe we'll be able to finish, maybe not, we'll see. Have a great day.